I want to talk to you about how to develop your story. And this is a working meeting. All right. So what I'd like for you to do is get out a piece of paper or maybe your phone if you like to type notes on your phone, something where you can start to make notes, because I'm going to give you some time to kind of brainstorm these out. One of my biggest pet peeves is when you're at a training or you're at an event and they just give you assignment after assignment after assignment. You're like, when do I ever have time to do any of this stuff? So something that I took from Chalene Johnson, I love it. Whenever we go to one of her events, she always gives us time to kind of brainstorm things out. So we're going to do that a little bit today with, of course, the confines of our time. So just a few minutes for each of these questions, okay? The very first question I want you to answer is, why did you get into Beachbody? So I want you to write that out. Maybe there are like 3 or 4 reasons, but I want you to write it out. Why did you get into Beachbody? Okay. This is going to help you, and hopefully it will help your team too. I really hope that you'll be able to share this with them if you find it of value, of course. And hopefully it'll help them too. So write out, why did you get into Beachbody? Everybody's got different reasons, right? And what's the personal reasons for you? For me, I was totally broke. I was in severe debt. I worked way too much, like 60, 70 hours a week. I didn't see a possibility of a family or a future unless, my husband was going to stay home and be Mr. Mom, because I worked so much, and I didn't really have any free time, right? I didn't control my life. So those were my reasons why. What are your reasons why? My next question to you is, what do you want to get out of this? And this is, even if you already know the answer to these questions, this is a really good exercise for you to do with your new coaches. All right. So what do you want to get out of it? Or maybe you're feeling a little stale right now and you're like, okay, when I signed up, what did I want to get out of it? What was my original goal? Why did I sign up? Right? And if your new coaches are having trouble pinpointing this, usually it is one of 3 things. They want more time, they want more money, or they need some type of recognition or feeling of belonging. Usually you're going to find the first 2, time or money. And a lot of times too, if people who are driven by recognition, especially people who are really into fitness, are quite driven by recognition. So maybe they just want a sense of belonging to something, like a greater purpose, right? So purpose, belonging, recognition, that type of thing. All right. So what do you want to get out of it, out of this business? And your answers are your answers. There's no right or wrong. So keeping those things in mind, we're going to use those things in order to develop your story. And developing your story is a 4-part process. All right. So number 1, you're going to list what your personal background is. And again, this isn't my developed training. This is something that Eric Worre teaches at his trainings. If you're unfamiliar with who he is, then look him up, Google him. He's a fantastic trainer in network marketing. And he also wrote the book Go Pro. All right. So what is your background? So you're going to list out who you are, what you do. This is going to, kind of relate to your why of getting into this business. Okay. But for the most part, it's who you are, right? So here's an example. I'll just give you my example, and then I'm going to give you time to write yours. My example was I worked in the corporate industry. So I worked for Chalene Johnson. For 10 years, I was vice president of her company, and I worked 60 to 70 hours a week. So that's kind of my background, right? All corporate, office job, kind of no life. That's my background. So what's yours? You stay-at-home mom? Are you, fitness professional? Struggling, maybe yo-yo dieter? What's your personal background? And you can write a few things down because you might, develop and change your story as you go. This is like a first. I'm always drinking coffee, so trying to up my water intake. I really wanted to go for another cup, but I had my allotted amount, so don't crack my baby out on caffeine. So, what's your background? That's step one. Step two of developing your story also relates to kind of the why you got into this business, right? So step two is what you didn't like about your current situation, or if you're just brand new getting started in this business, what you don't like right now about your current situation. Okay, maybe your background is I'm diabetic. My whole family's diabetic. I spend X amount of dollars on medication every month. So that would be step one. So step two of developing your story is what you don't like. I don't like the fact that I have to pay this for this medication. I don't like the fact that I have to, or that my kids might follow in the same footsteps. You know what I'm saying? So this is how you develop your story. Start writing it out. What you don't like now, or what you didn't like when you first got started. And just keep brainstorming too if there's other things too. Like for me, I didn't like the fact that I didn't control my own calendar. Even though I loved my job, it still could be very stressful at times. And so that was a hard thing. I didn't like the fact that I couldn't just afford whatever I wanted. I didn't like the fact that I couldn't go on vacations. I didn't like the fact that creditors were calling me and that some vehicles got repossessed. I didn't like a lot of things about, where I was at when I first got started with Beachbody. So that's step two, developing your story. These first two steps are super, super powerful. Step number three is that you found a solution. Okay. You found a solution. So for me, that of course, for all of us, it's Beachbody, but for me, I was very focused on the financial benefits of being a coach. For you, it may be, the physical benefits. Maybe it was is you have a huge weight loss story, or you're on your weight loss journey right now, or you're just starting it. Maybe you have a medical reason for, being on Shakeology or losing weight or whatever, right? So what is it for you specifically? Or perhaps you want to be part of a family. And let's face it, being part of a positive environment like being a Beachbody coach is a great reward. It's a huge benefit, which you don't get at any other business, right? Um, so you found a solution. So maybe yours is that um, you didn't really feel fulfilled. You kind of had this job, that job, but you didn't really have a sense of belonging anywhere. And that made you feel really empty. And you wanted to find something that made you feel like you were part of something positive and motivating. So your solution that you found, of course, was the Beachbody business and the incredible community and the encouragement that we provide as Beachbody coaches, as a team, because we get to work together. So however you want to word it for you, What did you find? Okay, by signing up as a coach, you found a solution to your problem. So I want you to write that out. I do want to say, if you find this challenging, just write the first thing that comes to your brain, because you don't want to overthink it and you don't want to make things sound too professional, because people aren't going to identify with that. They're going to identify with, whatever comes to your head, like, hey, my life sucked. You like whatever comes to your head. Like, I felt empty. I didn't really have a purpose. You don't want to make it sound eloquent or whatever. People don't go for that. They go for what's real. And you want to attract people who are like you. So you want to act like yourself. Okay. So you found a solution. Step four is how you feel about the future. Okay. So it doesn't have to be a transformation. It doesn't have to be, now I've lost 40 pounds. It might be, you probably want to insert those transformations in there. I got out of debt in 2 years. I have been able to lose 10 pounds in the last 60 days. My blood sugar levels have never been better. My blood work is fantastic, whatever, right? So if you have some type of transformation, you will insert it here, but then you also talk about how you feel about the future. What are you excited about the future, right? The positive feelings, so all the good stuff. How do you feel about your future, knowing the trajectory of where you're going right now? So you don't have to be a year after in order to share this portion. That's probably the most critical piece that I want to drive home, is because when I started my business, I didn't have a financial success story to share. But what I had was how excited I was about the possibility of getting out of debt, helping other people do the same, and create a life that I design, where I'm not on somebody else's timetable. I'm not on their schedule. I'm on my own. So how do you feel about your future? So based on the first three things, your background, what you didn't like, the solution that you found, how you feel about your future. Go ahead and write that out. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do that. All right. And the point I want to drive home here is that you don't have to, it's so important, you guys, that you grasp this, and another thing I hear from coaches all the time is I feel like I can't share anything until I have some type of success. I feel like I can't share anything until I have no credibility. I've heard that said a lot too. I have no credibility unless I have had financial success doing this business. And if that were the case, then no network marketing company would ever have gotten off the ground. Think about it. If you need to have financial success before you can share about your business, there would have never been the first successful network marketer. It would never have happened. The same thing with, if you need to have success before helping somebody else lose weight, then it's never going to happen that way, you guys. So the best thing to do is to share about the opportunity and invite people along on the journey. And so, that's one reason this has been on my heart for a while, is how to develop your story. I really wanted to get this training out there because I think that, well, I know that this is what is holding a lot of people back. And I want to challenge you. Do what you can in the next 7 days to tell your story at least one time every single day. So maybe you're going to start first by telling it to your spouse and keep it super, super simple, because you don't want to be one of those people who goes into a long, drawn out monologue about your background, all this stuff. That's why we have a simple 4-step process, right? It's very quick. It's probably would take 30 to 60 seconds in order to say all of this, but it's going to help people get connected to you and understand where you're coming from. Remember, stories sell. Stories are the way to get people's attention and to help them to see themselves possibly in you. And maybe your story isn't relating to somebody specifically, but maybe you can say, hey, look, I want to send you a video of a coach that I know that's going through the exact same thing that you're going through, or who went through exactly the same thing that you're going through right now. And so you help connect stories, and you be a story collector yourself and get really, really, really good at telling your story so that people know exactly what you're all about. Now, Eric Worre gave a really, really good example of what most network marketers do. Most network marketers, when they go to share the business, they automatically cut out step 1 and step 2, and they go to step 3 and step 4. And it is a totally different story, y'all. So here's an example, right? So I will give you my brief story. Okay. So my background, when I first started with this business, I was working full time. I worked for Chalene Johnson's company, and actually worked more than full-time hours because I was flat broke, and I was facing bankruptcy, and I was, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And it was really hard because I didn't know what I was going to do. And I really had no available time in order to start anything else or even take on another job. I was already working so much. So it was a challenge. I didn't know what I was going to do. When somebody approached me about this business, I was a little skeptical, but I got to tell you that this is the solution that I found. Working this Beachbody business has been such a blessing to my life because it has allowed me to create a full-time income in part-time hours. And then the final step, how do you feel about the future? Then I would insert something like, I can't believe the success that I've had so far. Every day I feel like I have to pinch myself. My husband and I, we work part-time from home. We're home with our boys, and we own a house in Laguna Hills. We were able to put in a pool without going into debt, without putting anything on a credit card. And I'm just so excited about my future because we're able to be here with our kids. We have a retirement, we have a college fund, and I don't know, I'm just really excited about my future. And I would love to share a little bit about it with you too. If you want, I'd love to talk to you about, how you can get started as well. So there's just like a super quick, that's just totally off the cuff. That's with no practice or anything like that. So imagine how it's going to feel for you once you start practicing a little bit, right? So it's just those 4 quick points and then practice. Now, if you were to only go with step 3 and 4, it's going to feel really strange and really different because all of a sudden it feels like a sales pitch. Because if I just come up to somebody and say, hey, I found a solution where you can make full-time income working part-time hours, and I'm really excited about our future because now I'm going to be able to, my husband and I, we work from home. We don't have to go to a job every day. We stay at home with our 2 boys. It just feels different. If they don't get the background of where you came from and where your struggles were and what you didn't like about it, then it sounds more salesy and a lot less personal. So I want to encourage you guys to do all 4 of those steps, because that's what most network marketers do, is they jump right to, hey, have you heard about Beachbody? Have you heard about this great opportunity? Let me talk to you about this great opportunity. But if you don't give any insight or any background into where you came from, then it might just come off like a sales pitch. And I don't want you guys to feel like you're ever selling. You know what I mean? So just share your story, share your story, share your story. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take you off of mute. And if you want, you can just go ahead. I'm unmuting everybody. Feel free to ask a question. Okay, everybody's unmuted. We have about 4 minutes remaining for today. So if you have a question, please feel free. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that this is going to help you develop your story so you can start sharing with people a little bit easier?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. How about when you're training your coaches, do you think that this is something that you could train them how to do?
Oh yeah, it's so simple, and with the bullet points of like what to focus on, it's definitely going to give all of our new coaches, at least for mine, just the full on direction of where they need to go, instead of like how I do sometimes. I just blurt everything out, and people end up knowing a lot more than they really needed to or asked for.
And then they go, okay, wait, let me back up. I meant to put this, I meant to say this, and trust me, I did it all in the beginning, and I'm still not perfect at it. This is new training for me too. So this is something that I myself have to work on as well. So good point. Thanks, Sally. Does anyone feel brave and want to share theirs? Everyone's
not really.
Not yet? No brave souls?
No, not yet.
All right, well, I'm going to encourage you. So go ahead.
Ollie, it's Dad.
Hey!
Hi, honey. Shoot. Yeah, I do want to. I'll take a stab at mine, and it won't be very long, but I'll just give some highlights on it. What I was looking at as far as my why is concerned, why did it get into the Beachbody business, was because of you. You asked, and Mom and I always like the support, so that's why we did it. What happened on it is that the real why, or the big why that I had, is that, as you know, in 2011, I made that commitment to you and I'm sorry, to you, but to my wife and the rest of my family, that I wanted to be around for a long, long time. And so I had to do something because my weight was getting out of control and I felt like a train wreck. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to make a real commitment to this. And it wasn't for the money, it was for the health reasons. And when I made that commitment, going from 238 pounds down to 202 in a matter of 9 months, and doing what I hated, and I don't hate it so much as the exercises, but knowing what the benefits are, from that and the Shakeology was just amazing. So my why is continually developing. As far as looking at step 3 on, I found the solution. Yeah, definitely found the solution here because of the knowing that we have been through so much, Mom and I, with our finances up and down and down and out, and a lot of times we are riding high on the sky and then we're down in the dumps. Found the solution where this particular business, when it's worked right, and we can attest to it from the constant income that's coming in each and every week, and
Hey,
working
I don't want
on
to cut
a
you
very...
off, but we have like seconds to go.
Sorry, hon, go ahead.
No, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead. I'm just letting you know you have seconds to go.
Okay, the last thing is, how do I feel about the future? I am 20 years to 30 years younger than I am right now. Okay, my age is not 65. My real age is 40 to 45. That's how I feel about the future. I stand on being that way, and I'm going to become somehow. I want to be the poster child for the senior citizens of Beachbody.
Awesome. Thanks, Dad. Okay, you guys, I love you all. Thank you so much.